In 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 8, the Apostle Paul further elaborates on the depth of his care and commitment to the Thessalonian believers, providing a vivid illustration of the gospel's transformative power in personal relationships. He states, "So affectionately longing for you, we were well pleased to impart to you not only the gospel of God, but also our own lives, because you had become dear to us." This verse encapsulates the essence of true Christian ministry, one that transcends mere instruction and enters the realm of genuine, life-sharing communion. Paul's use of the phrase affectionately longing reveals an intense emotional connection to the Thessalonians. This is not the detached duty of a religious teacher, it is the passionate care of a spiritual father for his children. The Greek term used here suggests a tender affection that is deeply personal and heartfelt. Paul is not merely fulfilling an apostolic duty, he is investing his very soul into the lives of these believers. The dual nature of Paul's impartation to share not only the gospel of God but also our own lives is particularly striking. It underscores that the dissemination of the gospel is not merely informational but relational. The gospel comes through conduits of human relationships, through the meshing of lives where vulnerabilities are shared, strengths are offered, and life is done together. Paul views the believers not as targets of conversion, but as family, worthy of both his message and his life. This profound sharing of life speaks volumes about the nature of the gospel itself. The gospel Paul preached was incarnational, embodied fully in Jesus Christ, who did not consider equality with God something to be exploited but emptied himself, taking the form of a servant. Paul mirrors this approach, showing that the messenger must embody the message. The sharing of his life is an extension of the incarnation, the Word made flesh, dwelling among us. Here, Paul's life among the Thessalonians is a continuation of that divine pattern. Moreover, Paul's statement that the Thessalonians had become dear to us shows the reciprocal nature of Christian ministry. This is not a one-way transaction of spiritual goods, but a mutual exchange of love and value. The minister is not above the congregation, dispensing wisdom from a lofty height. Rather, he is within the community, sharing in its joys and sorrows as a beloved member. This aspect of ministry challenges the often transactional nature seen in some modern evangelistic efforts, where people can be viewed more as numbers to be reported than as precious souls to be loved. The implications of this approach for contemporary Christian leaders are profound. Firstly, it calls for a reassessment of motivations in ministry. Leaders must ask themselves whether they are driven by a genuine love for those they serve or by the metrics of success that can dominate our understanding of effective ministry. Secondly, it highlights the need for vulnerability and transparency among leaders. Just as Paul shared his life, modern leaders are called to authenticity, allowing their lives to testify to the gospel they preach. Furthermore, this verse challenges the often impersonal nature of modern communication in ministry, marked by digital broadcasts and social media posts that can sometimes replace deeper, personal interactions. While these tools are valuable, Paul's model reminds us that there is no substitute for the sharing of life in real, tangible ways. It calls leaders to foster environments where such relationships can thrive, where people are seen and valued not merely as attendees or members, but as family. 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 8 invites all who claim to follow Christ to reflect deeply on the nature of their witness. Are they merely proclaimers, or are they partners in the lives of those they reach? The gospel demands more than proclamation. It requires presence. Just as Paul was present with the Thessalonians, sharing both the message of God and his own life, so must all believers strive to be present with one another, bearing witness to the truth of the gospel not only in word, but also in deed. In this way, the church does not merely grow in number, but deepens in love, becoming a true reflection of the gospel it proclaims.